All right. Yeah, it should be about, like, yeah, it's just 13 total that signed up, so they'll be trickling in. But we're going to get started. You're here on time, so well, thank you for coming out. My name is Michael. You call me Coach Michael, and I've been teaching with the Maori Learning Tree for about a year or so. I did a couple blood pressure classes, and I wanted to do this class because I thought it was pretty popular in the public. People were, clamoring for it and trying to get information about it. And I have experience doing it myself. Along with a couple other different dietary methods that we'll talk about. And I think that it's important to know how to do it properly. And I think that there are a lot of people doing it incorrectly, giving it a bad name, and might even be injuring themselves. And there's just a lot of misinformation out there about keto. And so I wanted to do a class that would kind of share some light on it for those who might be looking to do it the right way. And so I'm a certified health coach with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, occupational therapist, fitness trainer. And so I've been in this industry for about 20 years in different aspects of it. And I think this is the most impactful aspect of what I do, which is coaching people. Exercise is great, but this is really where I think the rubber meets the road, is where you can sit down and have an educational discussion about really the issues at hand, what's keeping people away from their goals, away from health, and away from wellness. And so I think this is one of the best formats as far as my career, as far as my profession, rather than teaching fitness. I love it, but you can only do but so much within 45 minutes or an hour. Then once that person leaves your torture chamber, then what? Then what do they do, right? They sometimes go back to the old habits, right? And then they wash away all the effort that they put in for that exercise time. And so what we're going to talk about, I thank you for interjecting as far as why you're here. She just said fat, which is great.
I have tried it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you want to share your experience? It was successful?
Like you said, I wanted to know what's my body missing, because I don't take vitamins, I don't take any kind of medication. And what was happening, I was gaining the weight, my pressure was getting borderline, and I never had high blood pressure. So when on the keto diet, blood pressure did go back down.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
I wanted to know the right way of doing it.
Okay. How about you?
Well, I learned about it or some version of it on Shark Tank, and I wanted to find out what the real deal was. That
Okay.
was a fan for it and the hype. So.
Okay, all right.
And I work with a lot of occupational therapists. I work on early intervention. I'm a therapist too.
Okay, wonderful.
And I'm an old recreation therapist. And,
Okay.
and early intervention, I work with OTs every day. I love
Wonderful,
OTs.
wonderful, wonderful, awesome. All right, so we all know that keto is a system or a method, a dietary method to help with weight loss. That's pretty much what most people, why we do it. We want to look better, hopefully feel better. We want to, look younger, all those types of things. And we want to live for a long time, as long as we possibly can, And we want to make sure that the things that we're eating, how we're living, our lifestyle is, parallel with our goals of longevity and, feeling the best that we can every single day, right? And so there have been numerous of dietary methods that have crossed our path, and many of us have tried them all to no avail. We have we have fallen short, and we have failed several times, right? And so when keto comes around, it's like, well, what is this? Is it a diet? It's not a diet. Keto is not a diet. Keto is a system that was used to help reduce seizures because it helps with the brain function, okay? But when you understand what it really is, keto is short for ketones, okay? And when our bodies break down fat, right, the body utilizes ketones for energy, okay? The reason why this is important to understand is because our bodies need energy no matter what, okay? And there are three major foods that produce energy in some form or fashion. Our bodies like to take on carbohydrates first and foremost, okay? And so the macronutrients, which you had mentioned, what are the macros? Macros are just the 3 major nutrients that we eat in every form of food: proteins, fats, and carbs. Then you have micronutrients, okay, that come in plant form, minerals, and things like that, vitamins, okay? But macronutrients is what every food is made up of, okay? Now, whether you're getting your macros from sugar, protein, or fats, that will determine how your metabolism responds, okay? So if your macros, which most of us, because of our overweight and obese population, most of us, our macros come primarily from sugar as a result of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and things like that. It comes from sugar. And if you can remember, back in the 80s is when sugar really began, is when diabetes and heart disease really began to flourish, okay? Why? Because sugar became the #1 macronutrient in our diet. Fat has always been the bad thing, the bad guy, you know? That's why we came into low-fat diets, low-fat dressings, low-fat cheese, low-fat yogurt, low-fat milk, right? Everything is low-fat because fat has been demonized as the bad guy, as the thing causing heart disease, as the thing causing your cholesterol to skyrocket. It was always fat. Well, if you only have 3 macronutrients, if you reduce one, you got to do what? Increase another to keep the food tasting palatable. Good. If you decrease all of them, you might as well eat your paper. That's what your food is going to taste like. So when they say, go and eat low-fat salad dressing, it still tastes good. Guess what they had to increase to make it taste good? Sugar. See? So anything low-fat, stay away from, because it increases sugar, and it is the sugar consumption over time that is the root cause of diabetes, heart disease, and everything else. The sugar is at the root of it. It was never the fat. It's not the saturated fat, okay? So let's go into, now, before I get into, I want to set the stage for this talk. And then we're going to get into this choice of, I'll call, weaponry. The reason why I use that language, weaponry, because we are at war, whether you know it or not. Okay, we are at war. This is a war that most people don't realize that we're in. Many of us are losing the battle. One, because how can you win a battle that you don't know that you're in, right? So we are at war with what? We are at war with, one, misinformation. We are at war with disease, sickness, poor health. We are at disease with, we are at war with food crisis, especially in our community. There's a reason why most of the people who are diagnosed with diabetes predominantly are African American black people, us. There's an issue going on. There's something that we have to understand that we're not seeing. And if we understand that we're at war, then you can, hello ladies. Hello. Then you understand, now you have a different mindset. Okay, you adopt a different mindset. Come on in. Let me pass these back to them. There you go.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
So when you understand that, hey, you know what? I'm fighting for my health. I'm fighting for my life. I can't take this lightly. I can't be so passive with it. Okay? There are several people that, as a therapist, I see that all the time. People who are much older, right? But the majority of the population, when I look at their chart and their history, all have the same. I could scratch out every name individually and take the same body of the chart and put different names on every chart, just about. Because most of them have the same pre-existing illnesses. Heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol. It's just like a factory, okay? And a lot of it's due to, culture, history, things passed down from our history and foods that we eat, right? And not getting the proper intervention as far as knowledge to make a better choice. So a lot of it is from passed down experiences, but a lot of it, we have to understand this, is deliberate. Okay, a lot of this is deliberate. And so the more that we know about what foods to stay away from, what foods to eat, then we can be better equipped with winning this war that is waged against us in particular. And so it's very, very important to understand. So I want you to think about that, because when you leave here, I don't want you to leave here thinking about this keto or anything as a recreation. Okay, I want you to leave here thinking about this as this is mandatory for me to do something about my health to improve, because I have to win this war. All right, it's really that straightforward. And so keto, whether it be trying to be vegan, which I don't recommend. However, if that's what you want to do try it. Right? Vegetarianism, whatever it may be, you have to do something that will put you on the better side of health. Okay? If it's not keto, it might be whatever it is that you find that works for you. But just know that we are at war with our health, and it's very, very, very serious. Okay? Pharmaceutical companies are not, and most doctors are not in business to keep us healthy. You do know that, right? Right? If we're healthy, then what do we need a doctor for but maybe once a year? Just to get a checkup. Hey, check this, check that. You're good. No meds? No. That's a disappointment for them. They want to write scripts, right? They want to send scripts off to the pharmacy so that they can, that helps them stay in business, okay? And so we want to make sure that we make it hard for the doctors to give them reasons to prescribe us medications. All right? Okay, let's talk about keto. And what is it? Well, it's very simple. Once this is over, I'm going to offer you guys an opportunity that I think it's going to be hard for you to resist, to help all of you out. But what is keto? Keto is pretty much, it's a low carb, high fat program. It's really that simple. And when you look at the basic premise of ketosis or the ketogenic diet, it's taking the majority of food that you eat, and remember I told you about the macros? What are the 3 macros?
Protein, fat, and carbs?
Right, those are the 3. And so all it is taking those 3 macros and putting them in an order where you have fat more than protein, protein more than sugar. That's all it is, okay? Now, the hard thing is the transition, right? Conceptually, we understand that. Eat more fats than sugar and eat moderate protein. And we're going to talk about the different types of ketogenic diets. And so it says when this happens, when you make that switch or when you go into ketosis, okay, by reducing your carbohydrates, all right? Ketosis is a state of being, okay? Ketosis is a state of being where your body is utilizing ketones from fat, okay? And I'm going to get into what happens metabolically or the metabolic state when we are going into that transition. But when this happens, your body becomes incredibly efficient at burning energy using fat, okay? Most of us right now, right, if we're having a hard time losing weight, it's because, why do you think that we have a hard time losing weight? Anybody want to guess why we're having a hard time losing weight?
Sugar for me.
Okay, for you it's sugar, okay. Okay.
I just hit a lot of hidden ingredients and foods that you wouldn't think would have a lot of high sugar content does.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you think you're eating healthy,
That's true.
not necessarily.
Right. Exactly. And so we all hit it on the head. It's the sugar, right? But what happens though? See, we have to know what happens when we eat the sugar as to what's causing it. How many of you guys believe in calories? Count your calories. calories. Okay, all right. You can stop doing that now. After this, you'll realize that calories is they have a place.
I thought calories was the macros.
No. Now, calories is a value that may count the amount of energy coming from a macronutrient. So it's a number. So 400 calories from fat, 300 calories from protein, 200 calories from sugar. Okay, so the calories is the unit of energy that represents the amount of energy coming from a food. But we shouldn't use that as a measure for weight loss. It's a very poor indicator for weight loss. Okay, because your body does not count calories. You do. Weight Watchers tell you to count calories, but your body has no mechanism that says you just ate a pint of Haagen-Dazs. That is 400 calories. Body doesn't do that. You read the label and say, oh, come on in. You read the labels and I read the labels and say, or we'll look at the menu and say, oh, I'll get that dish because it only has 1,200 calories, right? Or I'll eat that snack because it's only 100 calories in that bag of chips or whatever. And so, but it is a poor indicator for weight loss. But I'll show you how calories come into place with looking at macronutrients. So, for the most part, keto is a diet with low carb, high fat, and it lowers blood sugar and insulin levels. Why do we mention insulin? Anybody know why we mention insulin?
Because your pancreas makes insulin,
That is true.
and it's the way that it's managed or metabolized that can make us, that fosters a diabetic condition than not, something like that. It's naturally occurring.
Exactly.
It naturally occurs.
Right, insulin.
Also medicine too, for some people, injectable.
Yes, exogenous insulin. Insulin is a hormone that we secrete when we eat food, okay? But there's a reason why insulin is very, very important and why keto is a very important method for weight loss. And I'm going to tie it all together. And so it lowers sugar insulin levels and shifts the body metabolism away from carbs and towards fat and ketones. So there are different types of ketogenic diets. You have the standard ketogenic diet, which is talking about the different macronutrients and the proportion of each macronutrient that you should consider to maintain in ketosis. So in order for ketosis to actually work, you have to remain in a state of ketosis. That's why it's very hard to do, because you have to have macronutrient organization with the right amount of fats, the right amount of proteins, the right amount of carbs. Once you're out of the amount of macros for carbs that you need to consume, you're out of ketosis. So it's a very delicate balance, okay? It can be done, but you have to be very, very on top of your food preparation and things like that, okay? But we'll talk about some different alternatives. A cyclical ketogenic diet involves periods of high carb refeeds, such as 5 ketogenic days. It's just like an alternate day. Like you do ketogenic diet, then you do high carb days, right? But I don't recommend any of those except for the first one, primarily. Then you have a targeted ketogenic diet. It allows carbs around workout periods, which makes no sense because if you're on keto, you don't need carbs for working out if you're using fat. Fat is more efficient than carbs, so you really don't need. Did you guys know that you really don't need to ingest carbohydrates at all? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You don't need to eat carbohydrates. Your body needs carbohydrates, but you don't need to eat it. She's like, well, how are you going to get it? Because your body makes its own. It's called gluconeogenesis. It can produce its own glucose if it needs it, okay? So we don't really need to intake sugar, okay? Because the body can make its own, all right? High protein ketogenic diet is similar to standard ketogenic diet, but includes more protein. So in that ratio, you have 60% fat, 35% protein, and 5% carbs. Now, people can play around with these macros based on their activity level, based on their exercise level. Whatever you find that works well for you, that helps you reduce fat storage. Your ratio might be different from hers, based on you might be more active than her. Okay, so you may need to adjust your macros differently than her. It all depends. Okay, it all depends.
Question. So is there a maximum amount of carbs to take? Because I understand what you're saying, because I've been trying to do that, and 5% is really hard to do with carbs, like just start. So is there some maximum amount of carbs? Because you're saying we can all do it, like depending on what, but in order to stay in ketosis, is it like not
Right.
more than say 20% or 10? Or
Yeah, well, don't look at the percentage, because 5% really equates to 30 to 50 grams of carbs per day. Okay, so look at the grams.
Okay.
And
Because I saw 20 grams.
How y'all measuring this food?
5%. But, okay, so if that's
Yeah.
the case, so you're saying then stay in between,
Yes.
not more than 50 grams of
Exactly,
carbs. Okay.
exactly. And that's pretty much where you want to stay within. And, that's pretty much like, not like donuts, not like, Milky Ways, not those carbs, right? We're talking about like fruits, vegetables, certain things, maybe like a sweet potato, certain things like that. And in my coaching program that I'm going to offer you guys, I have a diagram that kind of helps you what types of foods and what that 30 to 50% or 30 to 50% grams look like, so you can kind of get an idea of what foods, right, I can eat, okay, to make that up. So pretty much there are several versions of keto diet, and the standard version is the most researched and the most recommended. So the first one, the standard, is the most recommended. That's what most programs pattern their keto program after is the standard ketogenic diet. Okay. Now, can they help you lose weight? Well, absolutely, they can help you lose weight. It's a very effective way to lose weight. Research shows it. It's actually recommended in most places, but because it's kind of new, people are afraid of it. But they also see that it's putting a dent in the sugar industry, right? And it's really helping people not only lose weight, but keep it off. And it's also helping people, it's hurting the pharmaceutical industry, because if people really get it, guess what? Diabetes is gone, okay? If diabetes is gone, then that means what? $300 billion industry starts to plummet. So they're not gonna really promote something that's really going to work, right? That's counterproductive for them. And so one study found that people on a ketogenic diet lost 2.2 times more weight than those on a calorie-restricted low-fat diet. All right, and that's what we talked about before. Calories, right? You count calories and reduce your calories on a daily basis to exercise more to lose weight. You're really slowing your metabolism down and actually damaging your metabolism. Okay. And I'll explain that a little bit. And then triglycerides and HDL cholesterol levels also improve. And so you have one issue that people are afraid of when it comes to keto is cholesterol, right? Fat, I don't want to clog my arteries. If I eat too much fat, I'm going to, my pipe is going to have all this glucose in my pipe, and I'm going to, no, that's not what happens. But let's talk a little bit about calories. I want you guys to understand this concept. It's very, very important to understand this. And why calories and counting calories is a failed method. It has failed over and over and over again. Wait a minute, I lost 20 pounds counting calories. Did you gain it back? Yes. That means it didn't work. Okay? When you lose weight, how many of you guys have ever lost something before? Like lost it, and never got it back. So that means you didn't lose it, you just misplaced it. It came back. When you lose something, it's irretrievable. It's never coming back. It's lost. Most people don't lose weight. They drop it. When you drop something, what do? You pick it back up. Y'all get it? That's good. So we use the word lost because we want the public to think, I'm going to lose weight, so that they can go buy that program, they can go buy that machine, they can go buy the next diet fad. They use the word weight loss. They're really not losing anything. It's a facade. Okay? So what happens? When you start to take the amount of food that let's say you take 2,000 calories a day, right? That's the amount that your body weight is designed to take, 2,000 calories. And you begin to drop your calories to from 2,000 to 1,800. You're exercising more, right? That's what the trainer tells you to do. That's what the dietitian and nutritionist tell you to do. Eat 5-6 small meals a day, reduce your calories, and exercise. Sounds good, right? Well, why should I do that? Well, you're going to increase your metabolism, more energy, more fat burn, blah, 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 blah. So you begin to do this. You reduce your calories, you exercise more. You feel like, yes, I'm losing weight. This may happen for about 6 months, even a year maybe. I lost so much weight, da-da-da-da-da. Here's what happens though, and that's the trick. They know you're going to lose weight. They know it. They don't care that you're going to lose it. Gain it back. As long as you lost it with their system, that's all they care about. That's all they care about. The biggest loser, they did studies on this, the biggest loser, do you know why no one has ever seen a reunion of The Biggest Loser?
It's in the graduates.
You realize there was never no reunion?
No, it sure wasn't. And I watched that show.
Because those people gained the weight back.
Well, it's impossible to work almost 8 hours a day.
Yeah, they
Like,
do.
be secluded.
I've seen things. They definitely do.
They gained their weight back.
drastic, too.
They gained it back. And here's why they gained it back. Is because, you'll lose the weight doing that method. But metabolically what happens is, again, we're at 2,000 calories a day. You reduce 18, okay, maybe lose a few pounds, great, reduce some more, right, maybe 16, 15, now you're down to 1,200 calories. You're losing weight because your body at that point is still burning 2,000 calories. See, when you're not exercising, your body is utilizing energy to function, to live, right? Even though we don't actually do it, but our heart pumps on its own. That requires energy. Our digestive organs function on their own. Everything in our body is moving, requiring energy. That's why our temperature is 98.9, whatever temperature, because it's functioning. Things are alive and moving and working. So that requires energy. That's called basal metabolic rate, okay? Now, your body's like, okay, when you exercise, of course, things get hotter. We're going to use more energy, right? We're going to start using some sugar, start using some fat. We're going to lose some weight. A lot of it probably is water and some fat. But what happens is when the body hits, let's say, 1,200 calories, the body says, listen, you still working out at a high level. I'm not going to keep burning 2,000 calories while you only giving me 1,200. That's like saying, at my job, I get paid, let's say I get paid $1,000 a month, right? And I spend, right, $1,000 a month on things. Now, if my job says we're going to reduce your pay to $900, $800, and I keep spending $1,000 worth of stuff, there's a problem, right? What do I have to do then? Bring what I spend down to match it. So your body does the exact same thing. Your body is not stupid. It's not going to keep burning 2,000 calories of energy while you're constantly down here at 1,200 to 1,000 calories. It's going to do what? It's going to bring its energy or whatever it's burning down to match what you bring in. And that's where people hit a plateau. They hit a plateau at that point because the body says, we're going to come down and meet the energy level and match it because we're not going to keep burning more than what you're giving us to burn, right? So when that happens, hormones kick in and say, we want to go back up to 2,000. So I'm going to make you so hungry that you want to eat a horse. And over a year, that weight starts to creep back because hormonally, the body produces a hormone called ghrelin, which produces the need to want to eat, okay? And that's what happens when people lose the weight and then they track it back, and then they start picking up the pieces over the next year. Have you ever seen this happen? All the time. Like, why am I gaining the weight back? It's because the initial strategy that you took on was not really meant for it to be a permanent solution, okay? So, when we look at calories, that's why we shouldn't count calories, because your body does not do what? Count calories. Your body responds to hormones. The endocrine system produces hormones so that it can regulate things in our body. So weight loss or weight gain is a hormonal control issue. Has nothing to do with calories. Okay? What they need to have on restaurants or back of food labels is the impact, the hormonal impact of this food. That's what they should have. And then educate the public on, hey, this is what's really happening in the body. What we used to tell you was really a lie, but they're not going to say that. They're too egotistical to come off their high horse and say, we were wrong, y'all. We were just flat out wrong. And we killed a lot of people by accident. Maybe not by accident, but we were wrong. Okay? All right. And so the summary of that is a ketogenic diet can help you lose much more weight than a low-fat diet. This often happens without hunger. And so the key goal is not to be hungry. How many of you have a hard time with weight loss programs because you're always hungry? Hunger, right? Hunger is an issue for most people. But is it really hunger? It's a good question.
I think I'm a snacker, so I think it's habit.
Right. So it's really not hunger. It's really toxic hunger. Your body is so used to eating, and when your body is dependent on sugar and glucose, then once your glucose levels drop, your body sends a signal, hey, let's make her think we're hungry so that we'll be refed some more sugar because we know she don't eat no fat. We know we're not going to make her crave salmon or ribeye or any flaxseed or, she's not going to crave that. She's going to crave some Hershey's chips, or he's going to crave some whatever. They're going to crave something that's, that's sugar-based or carbohydrate-based, that now we can fulfill that urge. But in 2 hours later, you're hungry again and never really feeling full or satiated. Make sense? Okay? You guys knew this already though, right? This is, okay.
That's
All right.
hormone impact. I think we kind of knew that. I never equated it. I'm a teacher, and I notice when I teach kindergarten, when I give them certain snacks, they are crazy. Like, they won't sit down, they're off the hook, and I'm like, what is in these raisins? Because they have new raisins out, they're strawberry raisins. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they making them, but they taste like strawberries. So they go crazy though. Like, the class go crazy. I'm like, well, when they get the regular raisins, they're normal. When I give them these strawberry flavored raisins, I can't get them to sit down. It's sugar.
This is sugar. It's poison. Sugar. See, that's why I said a lot of times this is deliberate. ADHD and all these things, deliberate. This is sugar. It's if we lace these foods, these snacks with sugar, oh, that child's got a problem. That child has a learning problem. That child's overactive. No, that's not wrong with the children. They're lacing the children and us with sugar, which having a negative effect on our brain. And it's really making us addicted to the sugar. Okay? And that's the whole thing. And so that's why I said we are at war. Okay? We have to understand that. All right, so ketogenic diets for diabetes and prediabetes. Well, prediabetes is pretty much a situation where you're not diabetic yet, but you're getting there, right? And does anyone know what causes